Hey, Sam. Hey, Sam. So Michigan beats Ohio State, and they already set the playoffs. I don't get that. Why would they set the playoffs before the last game of the season? Because it should technically, in my opinion, rule Ohio State from a bye. Am I wrong there? Sorry, this is not what this is about. This is about guitars. I'm holding a guitar and talking about college football. And I'm not really big into college football, although being from Indiana, I was kind of like freaking out because Indiana was 10-0, but they kind of revealed themselves in the excuse me, morning phlegm in the Ohio State game. So, oh, they're all still up in the air. So those postings were just speculative. I thought I thought they were official. I kind of didn't do much with my hair, did I? Sorry, I'm not sick. I'm totally fine. Hey, Richard, what's going on? Good to see you again. Oh, interesting. Ohio State maybe. Okay. And I forget, Bob, Sam, I know, is Michigan fan, right? Bob, you're an Ohio State fan. You guys, that was pretty crazy that Michigan, at 6-5, beat Ohio State. But you never know what's going to happen in those rivalry games. I thought for a minute USC was going to beat Notre Dame, but that one didn't get close at the end. Oh, your son's an OSU grad. Okay. Yeah, my Jack is a USC grad. I've been to a couple of USC games with Jack. He was really into it when he was going to school there because, in fact, that was during COVID. That's so weird. I remember going to the games during COVID. I don't remember wearing a mask. I mean, they were outdoors. I wouldn't have worn a mask. I always had the Starbucks employees always had to yell at me to put my mask on. When I walked in the door, I was like, "Yeah, I'm going for a walk. I'm trying to be healthy, and my volume is low." Okay, let's see. Let me adjust it right here. Is that maybe in? Is that for everybody? Everybody having a problem with the volume? Audio input capture, mic auxiliary. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. I don't know what that does. Okay. Can you hear me? Does that change the volume at all when I move that off? I'm seeing audio input capture, and it's interesting. Let me see. Boom, boom. Okay, yeah, you could also. Well, that's true. You've got the volume on YouTube, and you've got the volume on your computer, and then I have volume here. Sometimes when I'm playing electric, when I'm strumming, I get into the yellow or red. That's yellow. I'm not getting into the red. But usually I have the volume lower than that, and it goes into the yellow. So I'm wondering if there's something happening in the middle. Well, I did have issues. In fact, I have to today. I have to. Oh, thank you. It just turned up, bro. All good. Today I have to do a bunch of music. I've got, you can see a lot of notes here, and that's to be played on this bad boy right here, my 12-string mandolin, which is cool. It's kind of an octave up guitar with 12-string, kind of an octave up 12-string, but it's got mandolin tones because of the body shape and everything. I'll play it in a second. But I've got, excuse me, Jason Graves, who's a composer that I work for occasionally. he was teaching a class and an online thing, and he wanted me to speak at one of his sessions, and then he wanted me to he was going to handpick 6 different. It was funny. He chose 6, I think, because he goes, "This will just take you 10 minutes per student per cue to do these." He said, a 60-second cue, and he gave him 3 instruments, and it could only be 1 track. It could either be electric guitar, 12-string mandolin, or bajo sexto. And so far, no one's chosen the bajo sexto. It's either been electric guitar or it's been electric guitar or the 12-string mandolin. So 2 students have sent me. So of the 6, 5 have already sent me their files. The funny thing is, though, by the time I just reading one of their emails takes 10 minutes because it's this tome, right? Telling me thank you so much and it's an honor, whatever. And I'm not belittling their adoration. I appreciate it. It's just funny, and so he kind of sells me as being the most amazing, musician for game scores or whatever. And I do play on a lot of game scores. And all of the composers, they all work differently. I basically fit how I work is how they work. So if they want to work a certain way, that's how I work. I don't make them work me. They're hiring me, so I try to fit to their thing. And Jason has his way of working well. He trained them in that, so they're all sending me their files in the same way he does it. And it's kind of cracking me up because some of his stuff is all the composers have little foibles that are like, really? Okay, all right, that's how you want to work, we'll work that way. And Jason's definitely that one too. It's like, so I'm getting all these screenshots of the chord changes, and I'm like, okay, pings. Like a little chart would be nice I can print up, but pings are hard to print up. So it's just funny. But I try to be easy to work with. I try to say, just send me whatever you've got and I'll try to make it work. But just reading the emails is taking me 10 minutes, let alone creating the sessions, that's another 10 minutes. And then learning the part, that's at least 10 minutes. And then playing it, it's going to be at least 10 minutes. So I'm going to try to do them all today. If I get the last one, I don't know. I'm going to do what I have today if I can. I've already created the sessions. I've already read the emails. I already know kind of what they want. I feel like I also need to send them an email, a personalized email. For one thing, it's great for business because all of them clearly have some chops. Jason chose the top 6 students, and they all have some chops, and so they could be future employers, right? So I definitely want to give them the best I can do. Some of them are I like this piece here. When I listened to the demo, they bounced their version of it. A lot of these notes were sustaining against each other. It's just not possible. I don't have a sustain pedal on a guitar. So I think she knows that. But that's, I'll probably make a couple, comments about, this would have been easier if you'd done this or whatever, because it should be a learning experience. I'm not going to be too negative or anything. I'm just going to try to give positive feedback. So that's what I have to do today. And Jason was going to pay me for an hour of my time, and it was because he thought, just take you 10 minutes per, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to let him pay me anything because ultimately an hour of my time would be an insult. So let's see what's going on. But yeah, I missed you guys. I really did. Oh, hey, Windsor, UK. I want to go to Windsor. Oh, wait, we were in Windsor. We stayed at a hotel there right in Windsor, right on the Thames. Our room wasn't on the Thames. Our room was kind of in a basement. The windows were this big, up really high. It was funny. I felt like the room was an afterthought. The ceiling was really low. But it was a nice hotel. It had a restaurant, a good restaurant there and a bar, and we sat on the Thames and had a drink and watched all the ducks and geese and everything. And then we took a boat ride up the Thames right there. Walked over to Eton. Beautiful area. Probably be there again. I'm thinking that will be home base if I dare to do my driving tour of small town southern England. Well, not necessarily small town, but I want to go to Cambridge and Oxford. Big C.S. Lewis fan, big Tolkien fan. So I kind of want to see that. I'm hoping that the Cat and the Child. No, what's it called? The Fox and the Child. The Child and the Hound. I don't know. It was a pub that like C.S. Lewis and Tolkien. It's where the anybody know? Oh, Glasgow. Oh, nice. Yeah, we were in Edinburgh last year and loved it and should have trained. I was just thinking yesterday, why didn't we train to Glasgow and just walk around for the day and train back? We didn't do that. Not that we ever got bored in Edinburgh, but yeah, it was just kind of funny. No, not Fox and the Hound. No, it's got the word child in it. And it's the I want to say the Groundlings, but that's my daughter-in-law's in the Groundlings, or was. Dang it. Anyway, so I'm not sure. Bruce, you hit me to the post in the Discord. So go to the Discord. There's a Discord link there. Somebody said, "Hey, you should do it. You should talk about this, or can you give us more information about this?" And it's about moving open chords around, okay? And the first thing that came to mind is just like this classic Spanish. Right? There's a lot of songs that do that. So that's not a bad idea. It's actually, it would warrant, I think it could warrant, sorry, I'm not flipping you off. I got a Band-Aid on my finger. I'm gonna scare you right now, but I got a Band-Aid on my finger, and well, I guess I could itch my eye with that finger, but I wasn't passively flipping everybody off. So autocorrect. Oh, you went to that pub in Oxford? Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it's called. Child and oh, did somebody say it? I got it bookmarked on my Google Maps, so if we get there, you know, we'll definitely go to it if it's open, but it's closed. And I think it's owned by the university now. I think they sold it to the university, so hopefully it'll stay open. I do love the pub culture in well, particularly Edinburgh was great. At least the pub we went to, we didn't go to an Irish pub. The Irish pubs were noisy and were open late. Our pub that was right below our apartment was very quiet, just really warm and cozy, and just, you know, it's just, the pint was like €5. I mean, you're kidding. It was like this much beer for like €5. It was crazy. Or not €5, 5 pounds. So, hey, Brian, what's going on? How many people do we have? I feel like we have a lot of people on today. You guys miss me? Oh, no, we're just normal, 18. So there's some songs that I can think of off the top of my head that actually do that, where they just move chords around. So we're going to look at a lot of the basic basically the caged chords, C-A-G-E-D, and maybe some minor versions of those as well, and see what they sound like moving around, or see if there's any songs that move them around, okay? So this should be a lesson that's great for beginners, and it kind of does make me think I should do a video on this. I released a video, well, you can see the box behind me. I released a couple videos on that, and unboxing, just video shorts. I'm not really making any money on the shorts. I don't think I got any new subscribers from those two videos. So the one where I did the triple dive bomb, that one got me like 50 or 60 new subscribers, which is great. Hopefully those subscribers will make their way around to watching a bunch of my videos. I don't know. I'm not really... well, I've got 135,000 subscribers. That's pretty crazy. You can think about it. Let's see, content. Yeah, my WA video, which is my long form video, my most recent long form video, only has 486 views. And then the one before that Oh, the Pink Floyd jam track only has. That one I had trouble with. I had trouble getting that one to stay up there because I kept wanting to take money from it. And if Pink Floyd took money from it, then you're going to have an ad every 6 seconds. And it's like, well, what's the point of a jam track if you got an ad every 6 seconds? Nobody's going to want that. The Robin Ford one doesn't have too much. 4 musical exercises to work finger independence. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a suggestion. And I've always liked that kind of exercise, you know, where you're doing like D7, sharp 9, D7, flat 9, whatever, D9, D7, flat 9. I could do something like that. Because it's kind of musical. It's something you might actually use. You might actually... and so those are the kind of things I want to kind of do more of. But again, they're hugely unpopular. Some fun dadgad progressions. That one got 5,000 views. Now, it's still... I don't think it generated enough. Let me look at how much money it generated. Revenue, here we go. Well, $29, still not worth my time, but... And it's growing. It's interesting. That one actually is growing. So that one's on an upward tilt. And I gotten 54 new subscribers from it. So it ultimately will be worth my time. In the last 48 hours, I've got 106 views. So it's definitely kind of growing. There was another one that was... Oh, the one I did with the mic shootout. Is this it? Yeah. Yeah, maybe this one's starting to slow down finally. Yeah, it's starting to flatten out now. I've got 40 views in the last 48 hours. But it was kind of moving at an arc. I was like, so in that one's I made $27. Isn't that weird? Well, I'll probably have another ad or something. I don't know. That one I have $27 and it has 7,800 views, and the other one has 5,000 views and it's maybe $29. So you can't really figure out exactly what's going on with videos. The shorts don't really, well, you know, those two got, the one though, the triple dive bomb got 24,000 views, but if I click on the analytics of that, the views now, it's just flat. The shorts, they pop at first and then they just go flat. So that's the sound that flat makes. So the Hendrix chord, exactly. That E7 sharp 9, or the Foxy Lady, I think is this one, the F sharp 7 sharp 9, which is a handful. You could do that exercise too. You could, I don't know, I wouldn't play F sharp 13 that way. I play it that way. Oh, is Google being, yeah, Google being weird. Now this one, the analytics won't load on the, for some reason. Let me see if the analytics, oh, it's buffering no matter what. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I didn't gain any subscribers on the, I got, yeah, either that or it went flat. I lost one and I gained one. Nope, I didn't even lose one. So, let me see if I can get this one to load again with a triple dive bomb. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've had 2 views in the last 48 hours. So, yeah, but I got 58 subscribers. I made $5 from it. But it's the subscribers, I think, that makes it worth it. Okay. Now, one of the things that you should know when you generally move chords around, when you take an open chord and you move it around, you're going to create some tension, to say the least, if we just move things up chromatically, and what that means is 1 fret at a time. And sometimes it'll sound good and sometimes it won't. And the C chord, for example, all right, not really sound very good up a fret, okay? And if you added the pinky, then it might work. If you added the pinky up here, so the way I'm playing the C chord, you know what? I can create a little. What are these screenshots? I got screenshots in here. Okay, that I can delete. Let me just clean up some stuff here. Remove, yes. Yeah, I'm not really brought to you by Elixir. They don't pay me any money, but I get a box of strings every year. Okay, so let me create a text thing here, and so that way these will stay here rather than in the. If I put this in the, so we can go like this. It's C. It's giant right now. I'll change it in a second. X3202 and then 3. And this wouldn't be fingers. This would be yeah. So if I finger it that way, now I've only got one note rubbing that G string, that open G string. And now that's a kind of cool chord. But if I kept that pinky off and I kept the E string, that's not horribly usable. But this one, it sounds dissonant, but really in the context of the right key, it's kind of like a C sharp or a D flat Lydian. Let me go here. Okay, so that would be like D flat with a sharp 11 or sharp 4, but I don't know. I always think of it as a sharp 11. And all that is the exact same chord. You could even tell someone, okay, it's gonna, yeah, oops, not 5, 4. There we go. I bet you can play a D sharp 7. I bet you $1 you can play a D sharp or D flat sharp 11. And they're like, what? No way. Okay. Can you see that? Is that legible? And that probably would be as much room as I need for that. So, yeah, so not, but in the, see the E flat, sorry, so that would be the 4 chord in the key of A flat. So I could, that's a little rough, but say I go to B, here I go to A, I go to, see now that's just an E flat chord, E flat major. See if I put the open E string in, that's E flat major with a flat 9. But if I keep my pinky on, it gives us all we have to do is justify that one G string. The G string. Stop being a junior high kid. Come on. Okay, so it's kind of cool. So here's 1, 4, 5. Kind of cool. And that legitimately is a chord that's in the key of A flat. All right, because if you, I don't know if you remember, like in any diatonic key, you can have a sus on the 1 chord, you can have a sus on the 5 chord, but technically the 4 chord, that sus note should be a sharp 11, or a sharp 4 or 11, same note. No quiz on that. Take a sip. Take a sip. There won't be a quiz on the. What's the difference between a 4 and 11? But you can write, if I ask you that, you can write absolutely nothing. So thank you, Bob, Bruce. Yeah, and as far as I can see, so, what have I been doing? Oh, I can tell you what I've done. So that's legitimate. That's a legitimate chord. I could like I said, I could justify that note. Now, if I move it 1 more fret, I really like this chord. That would be a D4 chord. No, I probably should just leave this window up, but it would block. I can't see anything. So D4, and what that means, I got someone said that's a D sus chord on a. That's how I imagine their voice sounding. On one of my videos, it's like actually no, it's a D4 chord. He was like trying to tell me there was no such thing as a D4 chord. I didn't really want to argue with him, but so what I mean by D4 is a D triad with a fourth. Why don't I call it D11? Because that would imply that there's a D triad and then a seventh, a ninth, and an 11th. So when you say 11, yeah, that's a little weird to say D sharp 11. I could change that to D sharp 4. D flat sharp 4, sorry. Anyway. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to change that, Sam. It doesn't really matter. I don't think anyone would. I'm going to go ahead and oops, I got to change it here. I'm just going to change that to a 4. I mean, more commonly, it's referred to as an 11. That's why I use 11. But when I see an 11, and it's in parentheses, I would always put it in parentheses. I wouldn't say D flat sharp 11 or D flat sharp 4. Although I would say D7 sharp 5. Yeah, so but it's a standalone note. See, that's why I put with sharp 4, I don't know. A sharp 11 makes more sense to me. I just don't want to confuse you guys. So, but all of those are totally justifiable, okay? That one is totally, all this is an E flat chord. There is nothing, you're just doubling the G note. So it's just E flat, and it's X65046. And let me know if I get any of these numbers wrong as I'm going. It's very likely. I had E9 wrong twice for months. And I'm like, okay. So, let's see. How do you figure out naming the key versus chord using one shape going up the neck? I'm not exactly sure that I understand that question. How do you figure out naming the key? Well, for one thing, G is only naturally occurring. A G note is only naturally occurring in so many keys. It's still a good number of keys. The key of E flat, for example, and the key of D and the key of C. All three of those keys that we've already touched on have that happening. In fact, the key of A flat. So actually, so far, all four of these chords technically are in a key of some kind. This is the first one here where I'm playing an E major. So this is C, D, and E major with a G in it. So we're getting that kind of sharp 9 kind of vibe, but we don't have a seventh in there. So it's kind of like I would call that a sharp 9, but in parentheses. So this would be E parentheses sharp 9. Normally when you see a sharp 9, there's a seventh in there. So how can I get a seventh in here? I could go, or I could open up too. So I got a D in there now. So now it's so essentially the same chord as this. It doesn't sound anything like it though, right? That doesn't sound like Jimi Hendrix. And the reason is the G is here and the G sharp is there. They're not against each other. They're not next to each other. Okay, they're actually a major seventh away. Okay, but when I play this E chord and I have that G, they're right next to each other. So it really creates a rub. And even if I put a D in there, but I kind of like arpeggiating it because it sounds like I'm doing this. Or if I would. Kind of cool. It's kind of like I'm going. It's kind of a cool, almost like a blues lick, held out, sustained. So far, this is like the most obnoxious of the chords, I think. All right, so let me add that one to our list, okay? And so what I'm doing here is I'm explaining what they would be called if we indeed if they were a thing, if we used them, okay? So this, what did I say? Sharp 9 in parentheses, and basically it's 7, 7, 6, open, 5, 7. And that's what, that open string is what creates the rub. Now, if we move it up one more, so this is the first one, this is the first one, Brian, that does not fit it's not in the key. But the next one up, this F, you could use this as an F. And I like this one a lot too, and I'll explain why in a second. So like if I was in C, I could play the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5. The G's going to totally work because the G string's, of course, going to sound good with the G chord. So the general rule, if the first open chord you play, E, A, D, G, C, or G, is the 1 chord, then you can take that shape up 6 frets and then 8 frets, and you'll get the 4 and 5 chord relative to that. And if I did that, I wouldn't need to necessarily put my pinky down. I could just keep this, because it's all going to work. It might sound a little... Oops. But with the pinky, it sounds kind of nice, and you notice I'm muting the bottom string with my thumb. Okay, but this F chord, this is just an F2 chord. But the thing I really like about this F2 chord is the lowest note, F. Sorry, I'm trying to do this. Okay. F2, it's X, and then what? Let's see where it's 87068. So far we only have 1 chord that technically couldn't be placed into a major key. But the thing I like about this F chord, if you listen to this, that's the lowest note, the F, but the next lowest note is actually the open G string. And then we have the A note, which is the 2nd note, right? So if I pluck it in that order, 5th string, 2nd, or 5th string, 3rd string, 4th string, and then it's kind of, it's like going like this. So I will often use, if I want to have a lot of ringing stuff ringing out, I will use a chord like this. I may even, let's say I want that in F sharp, I may even go, oh, I want that sound in F sharp, I'll just capo at the 1st fret. Now instead of a G natural, I have a G sharp. Oops, wait a moment. It's a really cool sound. I love that kind of climbing sound of it. It's a lot of times I'll do stuff or in D. Or in C, I could do the same thing. Having those open strings. Exactly. What do I call you? Cossack? Exactly. The 13, if I called it 11, it would, yeah. Now the E sharp 9, I could say E sharp 2nd. But again, because I put it in the parentheses, it separates it from being thought of as a, yeah, no, I'm muting it. I'm using my thumb to mute. So, and then if I go up another fret, here's another one. It's technically what this is going to be. This would be an F sharp with a flat 9. This will be the second one, kind of like the E with a sharp 9, that technically doesn't fit in a key. Okay, so we get F sharp, and I'm going to put in parentheses flat 9. I think of flat 9s more than I think of flat seconds. Does that make sense? And so that one would be 98079, right? Oh wait, I messed up on the one above. No, I'm good. 9, 8. But so far we've almost justified. We've technically justified. Now, how would I use that? Could I use that in something? Technically, the next one's just going to be a G. It's going to be totally simple. I'll write that now. G, and then that's just going to be X, and then this is where we get a little tough because 10, it looks like I'm writing 1. First, open, no. So I'm going to have to maybe put some spaces in here. 9, open, 8, 10. I don't know. That's where it gets a little, this kind of notating things this way. And we can even stop there, but because now if we go any further, see these two G notes are the same. That's actually really nice. This is an E flat major 7. That would be an E7. That would be a B flat 6. That's also kind of nice, to be honest. All of them sound freaking amazing. But as I go up, I'm going to have A flat, major 7, and that's going to be X. Put a space in here. Yeah, we're going to get into the place where I'm going to need more space. 11, 10, open, 9, 11. See, now I'm going to have to make this smaller for you to see it, which makes it harder for you to see. Right? I don't know. I think I can run those numbers together. You can figure it out. You're smart. Let me get rid of those spaces because I don't like. Oops, did the wrong one. I mean, I don't know. Not optimal, to say the least. All right. Yeah, that's not great, but it'll do the job. Okay. So, A flat 7, you know, to be honest, all I have to do is say that chord at the 11th fret. Okay? Let me do that. So we're technically at the 10th. Oops. I mean, the root note is at the 10th. Okay. And then here we go. You know what I'm saying. 11th. And then if we keep going, that would A7. It would be an A7 chord. But the thing is, the G string now is lower than than the note that's on the 5th string. That's where it gets a little interesting, a little weird, but it's not horrible. And if you got a bass player who's playing below you, I really like the sound of the B flat. It was ultimately a B flat 6 chord, and that was at the 13th fret. And then if we go one more fret up, 14th fret, we had, this one was like weird. It was a B flat, and a B natural with a flat 6 instead of a sharp 5 because it has a 5 in it. So it has both the 5 and the sharp 5, and that's at the 14th fret. And again, I'm talking about with where your root is. But that's a dope sounding chord. mainly because there's a G in the bass. So if I were to play a B triad, which is what this is just a C triad, D flat triad, D triad, E flat, whatever. This is a B triad, but the lowest note is G, right? Because the open string is actually lower in pitch than the pitch of this fifth string note. Well, if I were to play a B major over B major over G, it would be that, which is technically a G major 7 with a sharp 5. Freaking gorgeous chord. Don't worry, there's no quiz on that. Now, can I think of any songs that use this? Not really. So if I were in the key of G, then that would make C the 4 chord. C, D, the 5 chord, G the 1 chord. That's kind of cool. If C were the 5 chord in the key of F, then we would have. That's pretty dope sounding. So what I'm doing there is that I'm playing C and I'm treating it as the 5 chord. That means we're in the key of F, and the 1 is F, the 4 is B flat, and the 5 is C. So a major chord, if you have a song and all you hear is one chord and it's a major chord, you don't know if that's the root chord or if it's the 4 chord or the 5 chord, but it could be any one of those 3. And so that's all I'm doing. And the B flat isn't, I could do this B flat, but that's not relevant to this lesson, right? But if I take this all the way up here, that's a beautiful sounding chord. I love that. It's a B flat 6, and then we have that F2 chord that's so beautiful though. So if I now the hard part there, see, I don't know that I would do that. Oh, we're gonna get to E shape. I mean, it would be hard to get up there fast. I really don't need my pinky. But you don't want all that noise. So I might play a C chord up here or something like. I don't know. Anyway, it's kind of cool. Yeah, and you could use different shapes with a capo for sure, or you would change the key, like if this isn't a good key for you. But again, to do this particular progression with a capo would be tough because I'm already at the top of the neck here. I mean, I could maybe go up a half step and do this, but yeah, I love the sound of that F and I love the sound of the B flat. Okay. Fairly aside question, but any advice protecting guitars from a lot of temperature fluctuation? Recently moved in very cold winter and a lot of combat with it. Yeah, if you can get a, do I even have one in here right now? I don't have one in here. LA is pretty chill. I mean, I don't really have a lot of problem. I've had a couple guitars have issues. But the dry is really bad on guitars. I would say extreme humidity and heat would also be bad on guitar, but you can get a humidifier. You can also, I had a teacher that, you can also wash your hands, dry them off on a paper towel and throw the, light, not too much, too wet. You don't want to stain the inside or whatever, but you can throw, like I have guitars, but then I think if you're not keeping them updated, the paper towels can obviously going to dry out in 24 hours or faster. And then then I think they soak moisture out of the guitar. So you probably don't want to and I think that's true for humidifiers too. Unless you keep them up to date, I don't know that they're really helping when they're dry. But a humidifier in the room, and I used to have a meter in here that I would. It was one of the cheap Chinese ones, and the battery died, and I couldn't figure out how to. It was cheaper than the cost of a new battery, so. But I really don't stress. Most of my guitars aren't super nice, but if you could have like a humidor that you're going to have to keep filling it with water, but it could, you could like a humidifier, just like when you've got a cold or something like that. You just don't want to get it too close to instruments. Maybe put it on the other side of the room or whatever. They make ones for guitar rooms and stuff. You can spend a little bit more money and have something like that. Like you'll see at Guitar Center, if you go into the acoustic room, they'll have those. Those are pretty expensive. But yeah, the cold is really definitely, cold, dry weather is hard on guitars. One of the things too, all the closets that I have guitars in don't share an outside wall, so they're all inside closets. They're interior closets. I hear my heater clicking right now. I've got a little space heater, a radiator heater right here, just barely turned on. Just take the edge off. I don't really, I don't care. I don't mind being cold or warm. It doesn't really bother me too much. Sometimes the hands don't work as well in the cold. Okay, so all right, we could do E next. What's interesting, like. Let me just show you a couple songs that I can think of right now that just use moving open chords. Right? That's right. Is that Riding the Storm Out? And it's also something else. There's two songs that do that. So what I'm doing is I'm making an A minor chord, and I'm moving it up a fret, and then I'm playing basically an A major chord, and then back down. And what that creates is A minor, B minor over A, C over A, or A minor 7 to B minor over A. And I guarantee you they're not. Whoever wrote the song, somebody tell me. Is it Riding the Storm Out by REO Speedwagon? Does that sound right? But that one is an example of the A form. I could do it with that. But it's they use A minor. Thank you, Sam. But was there like a Blue Oyster Cult song that used that chord progression too? It seems like there was another song in the same era. A lot of times these kind of things were like discovered and released by different artists. I can make that a little bit bigger if that helps. Guess Mama, I'm Coming Home. Oh, I should know that one. I don't. But like, so that's A minor. I'm just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of songs. If you take a D chord and move it up 3 frets to the 5th fret. This is Wishing You Were Here by Chicago. Interesting. Highway to Hell. Another one is in Dad. Is it Cashmere? It goes. I dropped my pick. Oh, everybody take a sip. I dropped my pick. Oh, there it is. I don't know why I'm using such a heavy pick. All right. I like the sound of it. But yeah, that one is he just slide down like 12-12 on the second. I'm sorry, the first and third string, and then 11-12, and then he does the same thing at the 10th fret, and then the same thing at the 8th fret, and the 7th fret. Sorry, and then 5, 3, something like that. Yeah, Cashmere. It's a great song, but it isn't that good. I don't want to get in trouble. They are definitely ones that will do income sharing. Now, truth be told, I should probably leave. Someday, I should probably, when they do that copyright claim, I should go ahead and leave it in there, because usually what I'll do is I'll cut out that offending section of the video so I can keep it monetized. But if they monetize it, they might actually get better advertisers, and we both might make more money. So, but I noticed when they do it, they add ads every 5 minutes. And it's like, so they want to make $1 million off of you every time you watch the video. Oh, sorry. No earthquake. My knee hit I got the camera set a little high. It looks like I'm really short. So yes, and then it goes to D minor, that on that Wish You Were Here, and or Miss You, Wish You Were Here. No, it's does that sus thing. It's such an interesting song. So oh, Kashmir. Yeah, I always spell it wrong too. Yes, violin, but yeah. It's crazy. I guess the guy from Sigur Rós always uses a bow with his Les Paul. Should I get one of those? Oh, let me just check my tune real quick. Should I get one of those fretted cellos? All right. That's amazing. That's like their peak. And Madison Square Garden, are you kidding? That's like that's an iconic concert, no doubt. Do you remember it? Were you so high you don't remember it? Hey, oh, Kashik. Nice, okay, well, yeah, nice to meet you too, Kashik. Hopefully I'm saying that close to how you would say it. And thank you for staying up late or getting up really early to watch me. I'm impressed. I know it's very, very late there. Your ears are still ringing, I bet. I saw the Stones at the Coliseum. It was pretty, it was the night after a fairly famous concert, because it was this, and I was sitting, so my right ear was facing it, and man, the next day I couldn't. It was a Steel Wheels tour, so it was pretty, it was like 1988 or something. And the Guns N' Roses warmed them up, and Living Color warmed them up. So it was actually a pretty cool show. You know, good bands. But the funny thing was that the night before, the lead singer of Guns N' Roses quit the band on stage. So, but then he showed up the next night, so it was like a big. We remember not knowing, you know, going to the show, and I was there to see the Stones. I didn't really. Song remains the same. Oh, that's way later, isn't it? Okay, but 72 would have been Zeppelin 4 era. Okay, so a lot. So we're gonna move the E chord. Let's go to the E chord because it's kind of makes a lot of sense to move that one around. The G chord, not so much. Not really gonna do it. Although if I wanted to go 4/5, 1-4-5, and create G as the 1 chord. Because you have 2 opens, and that I'm figuring it with a 4-finger G chord, right? 3, 2, open, open, 3, 3. If I did it with a 3-finger G chord, I'd have 3 strings ringing out. It'd be very muddy, but even it's pretty muddy with just the 2 strings ringing out, and they're not both G strings. One's a D and a G, so you're going to get a little bit more. That's cool. Thanks, Kasik. Oh, nice. Oh, man. Nice, Leo. So I don't know how often I would... I mean, it's not awful. It's just a little bit more muddy because you have open D string. The E chord, you got a low E and you got the 2 E, so you technically got 3 strings that are 3 strings that are ringing out against whatever you play. So the names of some of these chords will get even more complex as we go up the fretboard. So I can show you these. But the thing you could do is you could play like with these 3 fingers instead. Okay, so instead of using E with your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, use your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And then you can bring the bass note with you. You can bring the root with you. So then this would be an E, this would be F major 7 sharp 11, this would be F sharp 7 add 4, or add 4. This would be G6, this would be, I don't know what this would be. It would be nothing you would use. That's what it would be. It's the, but it would be A flat with a flat, sharp 9 and a sharp 5, but no 7th. I would play that chord right there. I play that all day long. That's a sharp 9, sharp 5 chord, A flat. So, but with a 7th, this doesn't have the same jam vibes. This one's not bad at all. This is A2. I would use this all the time. Not really going to use this one. It's got a flat 5 and a flat 9. But again, I could do. I might use the B7 flat 5 flat 9, but in this, not how I'm going to do it. Maybe if I add the 7, that's not awful. It's kind of cool sounding. Sounds very much like this. Okay, I'll get to more of the B. That's a B with an add 4, love it. C major 7, totally love it. C7 with a flat 9, C sharp 7 with a flat 9, with no bar, without this finger. Yeah, I'll get to that. They're all going to be E rooted though. This would be a kind of a D6 add 9 or D6 9. No. Then back to E. Full. So you're saying without. Yeah. And so, again, a lot of times what I would say is a lot of times things like this are not notated that, in any way, shape. Like I mean, you might call this. There's a way to notate this. How do I do it on? So technically, if it's a C, how do I? Oh, okay. Maybe I can do it this way. Let me see if we can. So like, if I take that, if I go like here and play an F chord with an E in the bass, or if I play, more likely, I play D with an F sharp in the bass, or a G over B, that's written like this. Create a new. So G/B. Oops, /B. That's how you would notate that. All right? Get smaller. Come on, you can do it. Why? There we go. Now, but if I wanted like an F and E chord, because technically I have an F triad here, and then I have a B and an E and a B, or an E. So I've got, it's technically F over E5. And so the way, let's see if I can notate that here on this. I'll try it and see. It depends if they let me underscore. So the way that would be like F, but then I have to underscore that. Let's see if it will let me underline. Okay. Is it going to underline everything? And then E5. It didn't let me underline it. Why did it not underline it? Okay. Yeah, it's weird. All right, so let me delete that. That's just going to be distracting. So, like, the difference between these two, that would be an F chord, F triad over an E. That would be an F and an E. So two triad, so F and E being played. Let's see. It's a polychord. So this is all, different bass note. But that would be when you have two chords against each other. They don't have to necessarily be triads. It can be anything. Those are called polychords. It makes sense, right? Poly, multiple, so that you would, you kind of consider that a pseudo polychord. But nobody's thinking that when they play that. All they're thinking of is, oh, it sounds Spanish. Yeah, so it's technically an F over E5. Because there's no third in there. If I put a C, G sharp in there, like that, now that's a polychord F over E. So I've got an E, I got a G sharp, and I got a B, I've got an F, I've got an A, and I've got a C. So I've got 1, 3, 5 in E, and 1, 3, 5 in F. But without that pinky, it just has that Spanish flavor. Okay, well, here's what's cool about that. It's easier with the A chord. Let's go to A major and do the same thing. So however you play A, but make sure you have that open E string ringing out. Thank you, Sam. All right, so. But what this kind of alludes to is kind of a D harmonic minor, because if we look at the notes in D harmonic minor, all right, if we look at those notes, I don't know why I scrunch up my forehead when I play those last couple notes, but I do. And we create triads out of it. We've got D minor, and then we have E diminished. We have F major. No, we have F. We have F augmented. Then we have G minor. And then we have A major. And then we have B flat major. And so that's where we kind of get that. And so what's cool is, okay, again, and now you can use your first finger if you want. Okay, see the A, see the B flat with the A in the bass, see the C, back to the B flat, back to A. Okay, now play those notes individually, and you just created a kind of a cool scale. Now it's not a D harmonic minor scale because we have a C natural in there, but totally fine. It creates a really fairly easy to play, fairly easy to find scale chunk, and then you can go on but beyond that. Which one? F major, this one? No. I mean, if I had the F in the bass, it would be F major 7 with, or if you just play the top 5 strings, it would be kind of like an F major 7 with a sharp 4 or sharp 11. Beautiful chord. Basically, you could call it F Lydian if you wanted to. So, I'll tell you what, we can do this next week too. Let's do more of this next week. Let's just chit chat for a while, and then I have to probably get to work on these these student projects, which future. Well, they all seem pretty legit. They're all really good. They all sending me quality work. So, but yeah. So the last couple weeks, let's see. Well, the first Monday was Veterans Day. Beth had that day off, so we went off. Where did we go? We went down to Redondo Beach and stayed down there for a night on the water, on the beach. And then the next Monday, I had a session for Austin Wintry in the studio. Normally, I don't do that. Normally, he sends me stuff, and I just work at home at my own leisure. And let me make sure I'm not getting some crazy stuff here. All right. Oh, you know what? I got to print this. I only need the first page. Let me make this smaller. And just there. That's it. All right. I got another banjo. From Brad. So I got that electric banjo. Finally paid for it yesterday. Went to Malibu Music. I'm probably going to post a little video I did kind of a sweep of Malibu music. Um, uh, and I will probably do like a little YouTube short for it, for Brad. For people to check out. People don't know it's there. It's like I said, I've lived in LA over 40 years. I've never known there to be a music store in Malibu. Part of the reason it's really hard to get to Malibu. It just takes a while. It's not close to anything. And I knew this would happen. The first thing that, let me move that down a little bit. The first thing that happened was, you can now see I'm wearing pants. The first thing that happened was they had people come in and ask, do you teach lessons? Because there's all these families that live in Malibu, and to go to lessons, to drive to Santa Monica up the Pacific Coast Highway or down the Pacific Coast Highway or up to Santa Barbara or over the hill into like Thousand Oaks, it's not convenient. And so there was just no one teaching, private lessons. So they're going to start doing lessons there. I think Brad's actually going to rent the building next door and turn it into a teaching studio. The drag is they can't make the walls go to the ceiling or they can't put roofs on the teaching studios, which is kind of frustrating because it would seem like it would be too noisy if you had like 5 teachers teaching at once. The other thing is getting teachers to get there, but they do have the university there, Pepperdine, and it's a good music school, so there might be a lot of people that could be willing to teach guitar or bass or whatever and make some extra income. So, you're welcome for wearing pants. So we'll talk more about these open chord things next week, moving around, and I'll maybe create a little diagram for that scale I was just showing you. I would have done it in E, but in E it's a little harder. It's not harder. You just have to visualize that shape and go. It's basically A minor, A harmonic minor. If I got rid of that G note, it makes it a little bit easier. And now it's in pure A. Basically just visualizing that on the fretboard to create that. Malibu music. So I went there yesterday. Just Sunday was no traffic, but it still took me about an hour to get there. From work, but I'm in the North Valley, so I had to drive the entire length of the valley and then over the hill. Basically, is what it is. And but the session I did with Austin was they were kind of creating this kind of weird busker vibe. So I was playing acoustic guitar. I played that guitar the whole time, all 17 songs. It was a triple session, 17 songs. There was me, a violinist, a clarinet player, a guy hitting trash cans, a tack piano player. And if you don't know what tack piano is, it's an upright piano that on the hammers, the felt hammers, they put tacks on it. They would do it like you hear it a lot in like Wild West movies and stuff. I think they did it just for volume, like a piano, especially as the hammers would wear out and get soft. Maybe in the Wild West they would dry out or whatever. They would put tacks on them, and then tacks would create this really pingy sound. So it was that, and an upright bass player, right? So violin, me. Clarinet, and trumpet, trash cans, tack piano, and bass. And Austin created all these little songs that we jammed on that were based on themes from the game. I don't know what game it is. It hasn't. Oh wait, do I know what game it is? He said it, so I don't. Maybe we're not supposed to see. You know how that is. Well, with games, it's very hush-hush. with movies, they don't want you posting screenshots of the screen, especially if it's a totally new thing or a superhero movie or something. But they, yeah, there's, he said it, and I can't remember, but he literally worked on this version 1 of the game back 10 years ago, and now they're coming out part 2 or something. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. I think I played on the game itself proper, or I'm about to. I'm not sure. Austin paid me, deposited money in my checking account. He just does it randomly. I'll get a giant deposit in my checking account. I go, well, I guess I'm working for Austin this week or something. But that happened a while ago, so I don't know. Oh yeah, the 12-string mandolin. Yeah. So it's basically a tune. But it just plays like, it just plays like a guitar, but really tiny guitar. So a little tough. The thing that the composer sent was pretty. What the heck? I didn't hit cancel. Okay. I'm not even sure. The tension is really high on these strings, and the action's pretty low. I could probably, and I really can't. It doesn't go any lower. It's already as low as it goes. I could maybe lower the top strings a little bit, but the action's pretty low right there. At the higher frets, it's a little tighter, but you know. Wait, what? Nope. Well, that's really really high up there. I'll get it, but like I said, I might have to punch those chords in individually. Was it? Or revoice them. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, to say the least. I doubt that I'll be able to track all of that in 10 minutes. But yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's a gold tone. It wasn't horribly expensive. I got the 6-string mandolin originally, and I probably have to move the bridge a little bit. No, I don't want to mess with it. It feels like the string is too close to the edge there, but I'm not going to have to go that high, I don't think. But it's I got the 6-string mandolin, and then they came out with this one. I went, okay, this is really what I want. And I actually bought this originally for Star Wars because I thought it would be cool because it has a pickup in it. And I thought we could do some really cool effects with it. We ended up not using it. But I've used it since on a lot of stuff. So I love playing mandolin, but mandolin is not tuned like a guitar. And it's tuned like a violin, G, D, A, E. And so it creates some really cool stuff. So if I can play something on mandolin, I will totally do it. This one specifically requested the mandolin, the 12-string mandolin. So that makes it a little bit easier. Like just then I could just sight read that because I can sight read on it pretty fast. Whereas on a mandolin, it's a little bit slower. It takes me maybe 10, 15 minutes to kind of get my brain synced to the mandolin tuning. And even then, it's like, if it's a really hard read, I'm going to be like, oh, got to work this up or something. It does have a huge headstock. It's very top heavy, but I think if my arm's on it, I'm fine. It's not going to go anywhere. I might use a strap with it sometimes if I want, but that way to hold it up. Just, Sam, it's no different than the stupid Greek bouzouki. That thing is so neck heavy that I'm like, it's always falling down, and I'm resting the neck in my hand, and it slows me down. So I know how they hold it, and I've got to kind of learn how to do that. I always feel like, though, when I'm holding it, my picking hand is too far forward. I'd like to have it further back. And so, anyway, I've watched a few videos of guys and how to hold it and everything, but again, I'm not trying to flip you off. That was not a passive. Yeah, it's basically the same tuning as a 12-string guitar, only an octave higher, exactly. Oh, we had a peak of 27? Wow. We're sitting at 21 right now. It's not bad. And then last Monday was, Beth, her school has the whole week off. So we went up to Ojai for a couple days. Had some friends stay at the house, use the house and hang out. We don't need this information. We were going to do some hiking and stuff like that, but then the one full day we were up there, it rained the whole time, so we just kind of chilled, went into the town, which is a really cute town, and used the jacuzzi a couple times, and it was pretty mellow. Just kind of, here's the main thing. The reason my wife will nonstop work, she just is, like, she loves her job, so she doesn't ever want to retire. She says it's an easy job, but it's easy because she's very organized, and she runs a testing center at a very high performance high school, junior high in Los Angeles, and so all the 1/4 of the kids go to Ivy League schools. It's the school district is where JPL is, the Jet Propulsion Lab, so NASA. So you got a lot of kids whose parents are engineers and stuff. And so, and prior to her running the testing center, she was subbing there, and all during COVID, she was subbing there, and they loved her so much that they did not want to lose her to any other district, so they created a full-time job for her. And they based it on this school up in not San Jose, but where Apple is. Anyway, another really high performing engineering school up there. And the kids, so teachers normally, if the kid had to do a makeup test, they'd have to sit in the back of the room or something while the teacher was teaching and do the makeup test. Well, that's not very good for getting a good grade on a test. Because they're just distracted with all the kids in the room. Secondly, the teacher, might say something in the lecture that helps the student taking the test, or if she has multiple students taking tests or whatever, So Beth will get these students; they'll come to her instead, and she'll administer the test, and the teacher will say they have 45 minutes to do this test. They are not allowed to use a calculator, or they are allowed to use a calculator, or they're allowed to, have access to the internet. No, they're not allowed to have access to the internet. Everybody's different, or different teachers work different ways, and so Beth just is very organized and has everything ready to go, and the room's very quiet, and she keeps it very peaceful. But sometimes she'll have 25 kids in there at once, all taking 25 different tests, and she knows, so she keeps saying all. It's like she's like, oh, it's so quiet, it's peaceful. Now that doesn't happen very often where she got 25 kids in one class. Usually if that's period 0, lunch, or period 6 at the end of the day, might have the most students. Sometimes she won't have any kids in there. JPL's in Pasadena. Technically it's Pasadena, I guess, but It's overlooking La Cañada, which is where she's at. So they take good care of her. She gets full benefits, which includes me, which is nice to have insurance. I mean, we had insurance, but anyway, this is good insurance, where it's like $200 deductible for the year or something. I got an email from Charlie saying thank you for the prayers and thoughts and everything down in San Diego, and he really appreciates it. He loves tuning in. And I told him I was off for 3 weeks. He's not. I didn't see him today. Did anybody see Charlie on here? He may have thought I meant this week too. So, as far as other Mondays off coming up, I don't see anything coming up. I think my daughter gets in the 23rd, which is a Monday, but that'll probably not happen in the morning. So, and Beth will pick her up at the airport. So, yeah, it's a huge. Yeah, it's bigger than the. Yeah, it is bigger than the fretboard, pretty much. It's crazy. Yeah, it's quite a accomplishment that instrument actually when you think about it. The body's also pretty big too, bigger than your average mandolin. Anyway, so it just so happened a lot of these little things happen over Sunday, Monday, and a lot of times when I book them, I'm not even thinking about us being together. So I just, oh shoot, I forgot. I got to do my live stream. And I think about doing it remotely, but you know, it kind of like, I don't know if I can count on the internet. And usually I don't bring a guitar. So, I was saying Beth working. So the reason we kind of went away for the early part of Thanksgiving week was because if we stayed home, she would literally from from Saturday morning, the first day she had off, till Sunday night, the night before she goes back to work, she'd have 5, 10, 15 projects that she would work on. Aside from cooking dinner for 14 people, she would be, I should refinish these chairs, or, I need to do a deep clean on this, or, I really need to take care of that, or, I've been meaning to do this, or I got to go there and do that, and she, and it's funny, as a spouse, you get to the point where she knows me better than I know me, and I know her better than she knows her, and she knows what's good for me sometimes, and I know what's good for her, and so we're up in Ojai, and she's just sitting there and just kind of looking out the window at the mountains and the trees and the rain, and she's just going, I needed this. I said, I know. And so gaze at the sea for me. Yeah, Charlie. Charlie's there. Hey! Charlie's looking at the beach. Yeah, it's pretty nice out. I mean, I think we're going to hit 74 today here. So it's always cooler at the beach, but the best weather in the world is San Diego. So Charlie's picked a great place to basically be a camper, permanent camper. But, yeah, but I pray for you, Charlie. I know it's tough. And got to figure out that situation. But there's so yeah, so I that's kind of why I take these little trips, because otherwise she's not gonna really vacate. Is that a word? She's not gonna vacation. She's not gonna holiday. Well, Southeast Michigan, that's not bad. Low 20s, mid 30s. I mean, boy, that Buffalo game was fun last night to watch. I love games like that with the snow. It's just like, just in the snow. I mean, obviously the Bills were going to win that game. The Niners, I'm rooting for Brock Purdy. I think, I want him to be, I love the Mr. Irrelevant thing. I think he got a decent contract. I hate that when quarterbacks get a really good contract and all of a sudden they're no good. Like Daniel Jones was never any good. I don't know why they let Saquon Barkley go and kept Daniel Jones. But that's the Giants for you. Yeah, I'm rooting for Aaron Rodgers over there. I just think it's at the Jets. I don't think he's long in the tooth, to say the least. He's definitely pulling a Brett Favre. I remember at the end of Brett Favre's career, he was throwing a lot of interceptions. And, it's because the older you get, your speed isn't very fast. Well, even that, I like what's his name? Kirk Cousins, because he was a Redskin quarterback and then he was at Minnesota. I saw that the Redskins are going to allow people to wear the old logos on the stadium. I thought it was stupid that they didn't allow the old logos in the stadium. Like if you were wearing an old Redskins shirt or something, they wouldn't allow it. They're actually going to use it for marketing purposes again. So they're not going to use the name Redskins because I guess that's offensive. I don't know. Somebody said, well, how would you feel if you called the team the Whiteskins? I'd be like, I don't care. I always said, you never name your team something that you hate, or that you would never name your team something that you thought was wimpy, or, Redskins was something to be feared, and not in a bad way, just like, the conquistadors, why don't they make teams change their name? All those high schools that are the conquistadors. How come that's not offensive, So it's the word skin is in it that rub people the wrong way. And I'm just like, I never met anyone that truly cared, that wasn't, paid to be aggrieved, to be honest. So, so the snow in Buffalo was crazy. That was just unbelievable. I think the Buffalo Bills team name is far more offensive. I hate Bills. I hate getting them in the mail. It's like that. Why would you name your team the Buffalo? Yeah, the Buffalo Payment Due. That's probably why they've never won a Super Bowl. Because maybe they're not paying their bills. Anyway, I think I'm funny. I don't care what you think. I've got a busy week ahead. And then I've got a lot of Christmas stuff coming up. Christmas stuff at 045. 6'9", that's awesome. 0 for 5. Is it really 5? I thought they only lost 4. They lost 5 Super Bowls? Oh, I agree. The mascot thing. Yeah, I agree with that. In some ways, like I think the Cleveland Indians mascot was the bobblehead, the goofy Indian. Again, it's a mascot, it's supposed to be goofy. I don't know if you ever saw it. I wished it was better than it was. There was a movie called Mascots. It was done by Christopher Guest, who was in Spinal Tap, but that movie was directed by Rob Reiner. But the Best in Show, Waiting for Guffman, Mighty Wind, which is, I think, just charming, funny movies, pretty hilarious in my opinion. Best in Show I've only seen once. For Your Consideration is a little too inside. Best in Show was a little bit, I'm not a big dog person, but if you're really into dogs, Best in Show's supposedly pretty funny. But it was one of Christopher Guest's movie. My friend is his composer for the movies, CJ. And CJ, but anyway, so Mascots did not, it wasn't very funny. It had maybe potential, I don't know. But there is a new Spinal Tap coming out, by the way. Wide right, 4 in a row back in the 90s, yeah. 0 for 4. Oh, Gary Shanley said might have been 4. Yeah, 0 for 4. I think that that's brutal. Actually, 044 is like London, right? Or is that like Britain? That's like what country code is that? Let's see. Oh, it's UK. Yeah. Huh? Look at that. How good am I? Right? Is that right? Yeah, four. Yeah, 044. Yeah. Sorry, I'll get rid of these. There we go. Oh, I know. Wide right. Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh. That's right. Did you watch that documentary on it was very good. Actually, I watched it twice because I thought Beth is not into sports at all, but she does tend to like the behind the scenes stuff, and especially when they talk about the families. What was the one? There's two of them. There's Amazon has one, and then HBO has one, or whatever. Tough Hard Knocks, and then there's something else. Anyway, I forget. There's NFL may have one, but where they embed a bunch of cameras. And it's always funny because always, you got to choose a team for the year. We're going to embed all our cameras. We're going to have 1,000 cameras at the Dallas Cowboys from the draft all the way to the Super Bowl. And it's like every time they embed themselves with a team, the team doesn't even make the playoffs, let alone the Super Bowl. And I find that those are, but Beth likes it. One of the things that's interesting, things you don't think about, it's like the punter that gets traded every year. And they have to sell their house and buy a new house. And then, I would just rent. I would probably just rent until I was, although then you wouldn't have any property. And then once you retire, now you don't have any income. So I don't know. But it seems like you would lose money on your house if you're having to buy and sell every year. Just the commission alone would take any profit you might have made in one year. And if there was a housing collapse, it would be even worse. So that's the wife talking about how they're well, yeah, the kids just got into school and they like their school and now we have to move again. It's like, oh, it's brutal. And you don't get to choose who you play for oftentimes. You really don't. You got to hand it to the guys that play for one team their entire career. It's just, even think about LeBron. He went Cleveland to Miami, to Cleveland to Los Angeles. Kobe was only in LA. So sadly, he was still in LA at the end. I remember that day. That started 2020 off with an omen. And the crazy thing about that was, I don't even know I talked about it at the time. I heard his helicopter fly over our house that morning. I remember it was January, and it was a Sunday morning, and it was I gotten up to go and go to church. I usually get up around a little before 7. Church is just down the road. We had just bought the house like not even a year before, and it's super foggy outside, and I'm getting ready to go, and I hear a helicopter over our house, and I'm like, it's flying really low. And I actually go outside and I'm trying to look for it, but I can't see anything because the clouds are too high. And then like the next day they released the flight path of the helicopter, and sure enough it went right over my house. But before it went over our house, it did like 3 circles around Glendale or Burbank, I can't remember which was, but it circled around Burbank and it kind of went up into the North Valley and then came down. It's like it made no sense. And I get to church and we do sound check. Was it 8 o'clock? We're doing sound check and everything. And I think it was right after we got off stage, after the first 9 o'clock service, somebody said Kobe was in a helicopter crash and died. And I'm like, what? January 26th, yeah. And then I remember our pastor, who was a basketball player in college. He's 6'5", 6'6". He was heartbroken. He got up and told the congregation. Word had already spread. Everybody already knew. It's amazing when that happens. When something like that happens, people find out so fast. Yeah, pilot disorientation. Yeah, just slammed right into that hill.
Oh, we did speak about that. Yeah, yeah. It was crazy to have to be. I obviously at the time I had no idea what was going on, um, and I mean like maybe I don't know what he was doing. Why he was flew up to. He might have been just flying around waiting for the fog to clear, and then maybe he was getting low on gas or something. Although I'm pretty sure the bodies were pretty badly burned, so and I'm sure they died instantly. But so there might have been still a lot of fuel on there. I'm not sure why he was flying around so weird. I need to read up on that because there was probably some good articles about it or whatever. But yeah, the pilot was probably not experienced enough to fly in that kind of weather, which in California, Charlie, I mean, it could be. I mean, we have what's called June gloom, but sometimes it's May, June, and July gloom, and that means the sun doesn't come out until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, just because of overcast. And I know at the beach it could be all day. You could go all day and never see the sun, right, Charlie? Um, I think all four of those losses were in the 90s. Oh, he was experienced. Oh, dang. I thought there was some question about that. I have a friend that teaches helicopter flying. I told you about that too. Aldo, he's a great drummer, um, and he had dyslexia, and he went to San Marino High School, and they put him in all the kind of the the remedial classes, and it was because he had dyslexia, but he's actually a super smart guy. And he taught himself how to fly a remote control helicopter. And somebody said, if you can fly a remote control helicopter, you can fly a real helicopter because it's really hard to fly, apparently, a remote control helicopter. Now it's not I'm talking about like a legit helicopter remote control, not a drone. Those are totally different. Those are easy to fly. Yeah, coastal weather is fickle, for sure. And he had, I think I told you the story. There was a helicopter crash in the Hollywood Hills that killed the pilot and a news reporter. And so this news reporter from the LA Times wanted to do a story on that and helicopter flying and crashes and everything. And Aldo took her up in a helicopter and literally had a stall. And they practice for stalls. And when you learn to fly a helicopter, you actually stall them and land them. And you can get some lift, a little bit of lift from those blades. And so you turn them and lock them in a certain way, and then you flip them down or something. There's something you could do to give yourself just the littlest bit of lift. But he took the skids, and he said the skids were like that. They hit so hard. And he's had back problems ever since. And I don't know about the reporter how she fared, but they both were fine ultimately. But he definitely had back problems after that. Charlie, you went to San Marino. You were class of '68. Uh, Aldo would have been closer to like 81 or something because he. But my friend, or Dave Christensen. My accountant Dave Christensen, his family. I don't know if you knew his older brother or something like that. Yeah, yeah. It's a great school. It's still one of the best schools in the state, if not the best school in the state. We used to go to Lacey Park all the time with the kids. It was such a fun place to hang out, man. I could wear them out good when they were little. Um, oh, it happened on a takeoff. The crash was a takeoff, not a landing. I thought it was a landing because they were going to a game or something. Like she was playing at a game. I think she was at the high school. Was it the high school that Bronny went to? Oh, no, I think the high school that Bronny went to is by my church. Yeah, we'll see if Bronny's doing what G League stuff now. I don't know if he's going to ever be good enough to really play in the pros. We'll see. I know LeBron would love that. I know they played together for 3 minutes, so at least they've done that. But I get to play with Alex every weekend. I don't take it for granted. So I know what LeBron is hoping for. Yeah, I bet you spent a lot of time at Lacey Park. It's such a gorgeous park. And then I remember, well, I know you remember, Charlie, when it was free to go to the Huntington Library and Gardens. You could just walk around. There was no. Now they charge. Yeah. Stevie Ray Vaughan was a takeoff. Yeah. Sorry, I missed that part of the 14 seconds. Not recognizing that he was descending. He was instrument rated just a few more seconds of climbing, and he would have been over the top. Ugh. Yeah, that's just so. Oh man, yeah, the Stevie Ray Vaughan thing. It's so sad. It's like I've never been in a helicopter. Aldo's never offered to take me up. I think he teaches at I should hit him up though. I think he's pretty close to where we live. Van Nuys Airport is where he teaches at. So 200 acres of gardens. Yeah, it's if you ever get to LA, I would say, Charlie, you know this. Everybody's like, oh, visiting LA. I want to go to Hollywood and Venice Beach. I'm like, really? It's like those are the two nastiest places in LA to go. It's just like gross. But the Huntington Library is great, and the museum and the gardens. I told you that the first time I went there, I was just moved here from Indiana, and my mom had a poster of Blue Boy in our utility room in our house growing up. And I just assumed it was in the National Gallery in Washington or it was in the Louvre in Paris or something. I didn't think it was in little old Pasadena at hanging on a wall there. And when I was standing there looking at him like, wow, and I went to one of the guards, I said, do they always make reproductions so large? And he said, that's not a reproduction. That's the real painting. I went, that's the real Blue Boy? He goes, why do you think I'm standing here? And I was like, well, but I just assumed that it was like, I didn't think Pasadena would have that painting, but because to me it was famous because my mom had a poster of it. So, and it probably said on the poster, it said, Huntington Museum, Pasadena, or whatever, but I never read that part. So, oh, interesting. Yeah, Pinky and Blue Boy, and the unfinished Washington, the famous, the classic. And Pinky and Blue Boy, generally they have them facing each other because they're like looking at each other. I think that's just mean, teasing each other for all eternity. All right, I should take off. We've been talking for quite a while now. But anyway, I will see you next Monday. We'll continue talking about moving these open chords around. What I did here for the C chord, I'll do for maybe the E chord. We can talk about that. It's going to be similar kind of list, almost identical in some ways. The only thing that'll change is the fact that we have 2 drone strings instead of 1 drone string. And then maybe I'll show you the power chord thing that we can do to play in the key of E. That's a lot of fun. I've probably shown you that before, but it's always good. I hope it was a great stream, Sam. I don't know. We'll see. I'll talk to you. God bless you all. God bless you, Charlie. Stay safe, okay? Give our best to your dog, too. Take care of that dog. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.